So I came up to the Skagit Valley, and I came up actually to shoot the eagles. I'm going to head up a little farther north towards the Nooksack River and the Skagit River. However, I turned down the road towards Lake McMurray or something like that, because I know there's an old church that I wanted to shoot, and if you get the right angle, you can compress the image with a telephoto lens and get Mount Baker in the background. However, there's so much fog that when you get to a road, you can't see the church with Mount Baker. It's just all fog. So I changed my plan, and I saw this old barn. And so I stopped, got out, and I'm using my 70 to 200 telephoto lens at 200 millimeters. And I've got a nice little tree line with the barn in the back. Of course, the barn's really covered in fog right now. In fact, I'll show it to you. So you can see the barn right, put my finger right there. That's the barn itself. It was actually sticking out quite a bit better, but the fog keeps shifting. Now it's coming back out. So I'm going to shoot this. I'm getting down pretty low so I can use the grass as a foreground and then use the barn in the mid-ground, and you can kind of see the little glow up there. So that's what I'm shooting now. Just waiting for the barn to poke out a little bit more. I'm going to change my angle a little bit and see what else I can come up with. Hopefully something. Well, the good news is I got some shots of the barn. However, the fog, as you can see, is just not going away. It's getting worse. So I just packed up everything. I'm going to head up the highway and go to the Skagit River and the Nooksack River, try and shoot some eagles. Hopefully they're around. Last time I was there, they weren't. So hopefully I'll find something. I'm up north now near the Nooksack River, and I am striking out. There are a couple eagles in the trees, that's about it. Not really much of anything. I'm going to head down. There's a little park down the road here. You can get like right to the river, so I'm going to go check that out. That proposes to be a dud. Then I think I'm going to head back to Skagit Valley and hit the Skagit Flats. It's like there's some hunters and stuff there, so I'm going to go try that. I heard the eagles around there this morning when I was shooting the barn, so maybe there's some around there. Anyway, I'm going to go try that after I try this park and see how it goes. So I've been working my way through Skagit Valley. There's this couple of women in front of me in their car, and we met up at the Nooksack River, and they've been showing me where they go because they're big birder people, and it's been pretty cool. Found a bunch of like short-eared owls, hawks, eagles, just all kinds of stuff. So I've just been following them around as they're showing me everything. So it's been pretty cool. We are now going to find, there's apparently a barn owl at some barn near Stanwood, and there's also like the mother lode of snow geese just up the road here. So that's where we're heading now, and hopefully we'll get some good shots. So I wanted to talk a little bit about yesterday. I went up to Nooksack River to shoot the eagles, whatever other birds I could find. And unfortunately, there were a couple eagles there, not all that great. I was fortunate to run into a couple people, and they showed me where all the places were to shoot the owls and other eagles, and everything else I could possibly think of. I just want to go over my setup. So this is what I'm using right now. This is my Sony a7R II. I have the Sigma MC11 adapter, and then the Tamron 150 to 600 G2 set up with a Canon mount. Awesome camera. Dynamic range is unbelievable. Awesome lens. Works really well. However, this is not a good rig for wildlife. The A7R II is an excellent landscape camera, but when it comes to wildlife, it just doesn't hold up. It only shoots like 4.5 frames per second. The autofocus isn't all that great, but for landscapes, it's not really important, because you're usually on the tripod, manually focusing, and it works spectacular. So it's the big downfall. You see a lot of people out there with like the Canon 1DX Mark II that does 16 frames a second. They have their Canon 600 f4 lens, which, this lens right here is 1300. The 600 f4 is about 13,000. So you kind of get what you pay for on that end. So the autofocus is just unbelievable with that lens. But like I said, this one works spectacular for what I use it for. So the reason I started doing some wildlife is living in Seattle. There's eagles all over the place. I'm always seeing them when I'm on my bike or out hiking or whatever. And I thought, you know what? Since I'm into photography, why don't I start to learn how to capture all that stuff? So that's why I went out. Been going out the last couple weeks to find, because the eagles are out. So, I took a bunch of pictures yesterday. I don't think I got a single one in focus where the bird was actually flying. Where the birds were sitting still, I got those in focus pretty well. So I want to go over a couple images and show you what I was running into. As you can see here, so this eagle, it took off right from the perch. You can see right back here's a juvenile right behind it. So if I zoom in, you can see it's pretty in focus. There's no editing to this photo yet or anything. Unfortunately, so if I move to like this image, see it's even better. Here's the juvenile down here. Zoom in, it's getting a little more out of focus. And then this one, I really like this one. However, you can see, it's just not in focus at all. Then we went to the Bo Edison area, and I shot some of the owls, the short-eared owls. You can see this looks pretty good. Got the owl flying, but if I zoom in, it's just not really in focus. I'm sure it's okay for like Instagram or something, but I'm not gonna post it to anything. This one as well. It's just, and you can see it's pretty harsh light, so you have the big shadow on this side, not in focus. We had an eagle. Of course, that's the back end of the eagle, so what's that one going to do for me? You can see like this one here, where the eagle's just sitting in the tree. Here's the juvenile, here's the adult. You zoom in once it gets done here. Come on, quit spinning. See, that one's really in focus. And apparently you can tell if it's male or female by the eyes. The females are brighter around the pupil than the males. That's what I was told yesterday. So that was pretty sharp. Like I said, eagle wasn't moving. Come down to some other photos. Here's a heron. Wasn't moving. There's no editing done to this photo. It's just straight out of camera. So pretty sharp. Here's another heron. Got the reflection. So this red here is just because it's blowing out highlights. You can see how this little yellow arrow is up here. So if I wanted to come in, reduce the highlights, then it starts to come back in. I can bring the whites down. Then you can see how it brings back the detail. So here's the barn owl that was just sitting in a tree. Unfortunately, it was just pretty much sleeping, and it was just right on the road. There was just a ditch between me and this owl, and about 20 other photographers shooting it. You can see, really sharp. Here's my settings: 1,000th of a second, f7.1, ISO 500, 600 millimeters. So that's really sharp, but again, it just wasn't moving, so it was pretty easy. So here's some snow geese. So they're okay. Not too bad. They're flying. And I just kind of quickly panned up. But so these don't really fly all that fast, so it's much easier to focus on, and they fly in a straight line. Whereas like the owls and eagles, they're just zipping all around. You're just, so hard to track them. So otherwise it's a very good learning experience. Like I said, I didn't really get many photos in focus, but I'm not really set up to do this. I'm probably eventually going to buy like the Canon 7D Mark II, because that does like 9 frames a second, better autofocus. The lens will attach directly to the camera, and so I can just set it for back button focus really fast. However, I did shoot this one with the lens. So here I was driving up there, saw this little tree with a dark background with the sun shining on. I was like, oh, I got to stop. Again, 600 millimeters, 1/250th of a second, ISO 100, f5.6. Nice bokeh in the background. If I zoom in, tree's really sharp. So I really like this one, just the dark contrast of everything, and the tree lit up, a little bit of frost on the tree catching the light. So all in all, it was a good day yesterday. I learned a lot. Biggest things, I just need to practice. I just don't shoot wildlife really. I've never had a good setup to do it. Now I do, besides the camera itself. And now I know where to go, so that's really going to help. So really it's just a matter of me getting out, practicing, trying to get more shots. Other than that, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.